mover and shaker, Crispy and Mills.
I hear the sound of drums.
Kick-ass babe, Mel C. And lipstick Brit wit, Eddie Izzard. Plus, monster beats courtesy of West Coast rap rebates, Jurassic 5. Hiya, I'm Jo Whiley and welcome to the last show in the current series. It's end of term party time and here ready to blow up a few balloons and slurp some fizzy pop are my three head prefects. Crispian, hello. Mel C.
Hiya.
And Eddie Izzard.
I was never a head prefect.
Weren't you? Were you
No.
kicked out of school?
That's school pig, that was. And you're not supposed to be school pig.
Tonight, the subjects, will E17's Second Coming be good enough for them to stay another day? Can the men from Uncle unravel the mystery of what makes good music? And was there more to Culture Club and Duran Duran than Diamante and dodgy haircuts? But here's the first lesson of the evening. It's the news. Dancing queens everywhere will be dusting off their boob tubes and stack heels in joy at the news that Benny and Bjorn are penning ABBA the musical. The songwriting brains behind the Swedish pop gods hope to cash in on the vogue for 70s musicals like Saturday Night Fever and Grease. You can just smell the money, money, money. Rockstar he may be, but ex-Rolling Stone Bill Wyman is refusing to tour the UK until radio stations play his new record. He might have a long wait. His Any Way the Wind Blows Rhythm Kings CD features all the young dudes, like 80-year-old bluesman John Lee Hooker and 60s throwback Andy Fairweather Lowe. It's hardly going to get the kids excited, is it, Bill? All Saints have been on the scrounge for someone to replace Preggers Mel at November's MTV Awards. Who will it be? Step forward 70s disco diva Patti LaBelle, who hit big with the original of Lady Marmalade back in '75. Great voice and a great choice, but don't let her choose your outfits. Stick with the stylist. Scary and Mel B have a good old chinwag during Channel 4's Prince Night coming up soon. The artist, formerly known as Quite Good, but no one's quite sure anymore, took Mel on a tour of Paisley Park and dangled his symbol at her.
What about you? What do I call you?
Well, I go by an unpronounceable symbol, but you can call me Spud.
Spud. As in potato spud. Why have you chosen me to interview you?
Because you're a pimp. Look at this watch.
He's calling me a pimp. And I'm admitting it. Can you believe it?
Richard and Judy, watch out. Excellent. Crispian, we'll start off then with Prince.
I used to think I was heavily influenced by him, but I realised in retrospect that it was a fallacy.
What about all this rubbish of not having a name and being Mr. Symbol and all that?
I think he's just, trying to express himself, I suppose. And,
I think everyone should do it.
Do you?
I think everyone. It would make the whole media industry a nightmare.
What should we call you then?
I'd call it the artist formerly known as Eggplant. I don't know.
Mel B interviewed him.
Yeah.
Did she give you any inside gossip?
Well, we were lucky enough to meet him, actually. He came to one of our shows, and we were all a bit nervous about him coming back, because, we offered him a drink, and he was just like... oh...
So he was as weird as you?
Doesn't even drink, the guy, But Melanie was telling us, as she was interviewing him, he wasn't actually wearing any underwear. So,
And this was evident?
This was quite evident, and she, couldn't quite, take her eyes away from it. He's small in some ways, but not in others, I guess.
No, I think he's shy. I think he's a shy lad.
What's the problem?
I think he lives on stage on pure oxygen.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, that's a lot of performers do. Everyone gets into rock and roll or comedy or whatever to get shagged, unless you're already getting shagged, and then you're getting in there so that you can not get shagged.
Eddie, ABBA the musical.
Yes, please.
Your gut reaction, yeah?
No, thank you.
Would you pay to go and see that?
No, I would.
Would you blag a ticket to go and see that?
No, I'd go and watch it if I found it on the tube. Like those newspapers. Is that too extreme an analogy? If I found the musical lying on the tube, I'd watch it there.
Yes.
In some sort of futuristic CD plug-in thing. Oh, there it is.
DVD. Are you into musicals in general?
No, I'm not into musicals in general. I'm into
What have you got
musicals.
against musicals?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's all the singing with the leg out the back thing, and that running one where they seem to be running on the spot. That move in the dance thing.
Mel, All Saints are seeking a replacement at the moment for Melanie while she has her baby.
Is that true, though?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
apparently, yeah.
What?
Did you ever consider replacing Jerry, though, when she left?
Never.
Never had a conversation with the group saying,
Never.
what should we do? You must have...
It'd be so difficult because we're so close-knit Do you know what I mean? And for someone else to come into that environment, for them, it'd be so difficult, because I think you'd be a bit like, you know.
When she left and you having to do performances on your own, did that feel really strange? Like,
it did at first.
You know,
we had
leg's
two
fallen
gigs.
off or something?
We had 2 gigs left in Europe without her. And then we had a bit of a break, but then, like, the first 2 gigs, it was just so strange, because, like, so many times I'd, like, turn around and, like, we'd interact, you know, on bits when she'd be next to whatever, and it's like, she's just not there, and you felt like, you know, you'd had a limb miss, and it really was like that. But then when we'd, like, you know, re-rehearsed, a week off, whatever, went over to America, it felt like she'd never been there in the first place.
That's terrible, though.
It's really strange now. It feels like, you know, she's, you know, a mate from way back, but it feels like she was never in the band.
Do you see her? Are you still in touch with her?
I haven't seen her, because, like, well, we've been back for about a fortnight now, like, from America, but I've not seen her. But she's busy, isn't she?
Have your paths just completely separated, and you doubt very much whether you will be seeing her socially or anything?
Yeah, I mean, socially I probably wouldn't see her anyway. But maybe through work. But, I mean, we're still in touch, you know. She wrote me a letter the other day.
What did she say?
So,
was it just a matey letter?
Yeah, it was just like, hi, you know, hope everything's all right and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
Why did she not go to Mel B's wedding? Because that is bound to make people think,
She
they're
didn't
not
actually
friends.
go to Mel's wedding because she was in America. Because she was doing some awards. Awards. What was
MTV, I think it
You know,
was.
some awards, the MTV awards.
Yeah.
So she wasn't in the country.
Okay, so she probably had an invitation, but she couldn't make it.
Nobody had an invitation. It was hush hush.
Okay, 6 years ago, baggy-trousered Cockneys E17 shuffled into the charts with their mix of pop and rap light. The quartet went on to challenge Take That for the Teen Scream crown and achieve 15 top 20 singles. Following a highly publicised bust-up between Brian Harvey and the band, it looked like E17 were washed up for good. But now, 2 years on, they've made up, and Brian's back with E17. Minus songwriter Tony Mortimer. See what you think.
Have you heard of a saying? For those who are playing, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Well, there was my darling. I knew I was falling into something that would be so wrong. But I got hold of myself and changed for the better. I can't get you out of my mind. Something inside made me realize you were fine. Each time when we're alone, I guess I didn't know how far we were apart. Should have spoken to my heart. I guess I didn't know that each time you go away, I cry. I can't think of goodbye.
E17, not to be confused with E17, and Brian Harvey minus any underarm hair. I don't know if you noticed that. Mel.
I think very dangerous calling themselves E17 after the whole Brian Harvey thing. When I first heard that they were making, you know, coming back, I thought, oh yeah, nice one. As long as the music's good, you know what I mean, then
Yeah.
I hope they do well. But then I just thought it was a bit.
So yeah,
bit
what do you make of the
bland,
music?
a bit-
Just too bland?
Yeah, I thought if that's the first single off your album, that's a bit of a shame, because like you want like some impact, wouldn't you? But I mean that would
Sounds
be a
very
poor
American, very
album
much
track.
like Boys to Men, don't you think?
I think he's got a good voice. I like his voice. You know, it's really R&B, but it's not my cup of tea anyway. That kind of music.
You had Brian Harvey at the front. There were 2 boys in the background either side.
Terry and John.
Terry
Yeah.
and John. All coming from Walthamstow, of course.
Doing all that.
Yeah, like this. What do I do? What do I do? Just keep doing that. Just keep doing that.
Occasionally coming forward and doing.
Yeah. Do you have a use for them, or
What?
the boys?
Backing singers.
Yes.
Very little backing singer usage in stand-up. It's they just don't really work. People coming forward and saying, "Yeah, in a barn," you know, coming back with it wouldn't work for me. In a pub, 2 men in a pub, you know, it wouldn't really happen. But I thought Tony Mortimer, that was his band, wasn't it? Because there was always a video with those 3 guys doing a bit of coming forward and the stuff.
Yeah.
And Tony Mortimer was off in a car, you know, mending a truck somewhere, being very separate. It was always like designed, I thought, so that Tony could go off and and just, you know, be himself. I was never in that band type thing. He was always dressed to completely different. Less of that, because they always had very strange usage of facial hair
images, yes.
there, and he just had nothing like that. It was like in a different band, the guy behind in black.
So can you see stardom for this lot? Do you think it will happen?
Well, no, I didn't like that video. It was a lot of car driving and driving through litter. It's the professionals.
Crispin, what did you make of E17? Brian and his boys?
Yeah, I thought the boys in the back were cool, actually. I think they made up for Brian taking himself so seriously. I think they were joking.
But what about the new sound?
I like the one where when they did the Brits Awards and they were all in anoraks singing Rain or something, and what's the singer called again? What's the guy?
Brian, the short bloke.
No, the other guy who left.
Tony.
Tony was there in his wheelchair with a bust leg. And he's going, "Thou will be done."
Time to get somber now and get a bit morbid. We caught up with the master of darkness, Marilyn Manson, and asked the Antichrist superstar the tune that he would like most played at his funeral. His reply.
The song I would like to have played at my funeral would be Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. When I hear this song, the way it makes me feel is how I'd like to feel when I die, completely floating.
Not if you can hear me.
Wouldn't mind if my funeral were a bit of a Jonestown Massacre type of event where everybody had a drink to say goodbye to me, but the drink were poisoned, so they all died as well. I'd probably just die completely. Naked, drugs, hookers, Jack Daniels probably. I wouldn't mind if they hired some special effects people from Hollywood and created some sort of animatronics version of me so that I could get up out of my casket and perform or something, some sort of sexual act to entertain all of the people before they die as well. And that would be my revenge on them. It wouldn't be so bad to be taxidermied either, stuffed with an erection, so that I'd be represented in my strongest form. People could sexually please themselves with me after I'm dead.
Comfortably numb.
What would your swan song be? Your theme tune?
Oh, I don't know. Either Eric Idle's fantastic, Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, which, as long as they have Life's a Piece of Shit in it,
yes,
because that's an important line, and it has become an anthem, and everyone sings it, which is great. Either that or Helter Skelter by the Beatles, just because it's wrong to have at a funeral.
Crispian, what would your song be?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's very important, I think, you know, stay where you're at.
To make a statement.
When you leave your body, isn't it? You've got to be very much kind of absorbed in something. And I think it'd have to be Marilyn Manson, probably. He'd send me off on someplace. I think it's all over to Marilyn Manson's funeral for a party. I mean,
to impale yourself. Metal, what tune would you want played? The final curtain falls.
I quite like the idea of having something nice and jolly. But I don't know, immediately when I asked that question, I just thought of Imagine by John Lennon, and I don't know why. But that's like really freaking
poignant, I suppose.
Like, well, all your family is sitting there and he's singing, Imagine There's No Heaven.
Okay, we're going to talk more in just a bit. After the break, we relive the 80s excess of Duran Duran and Culture Club. Hello, welcome back to the show with me, Jo Whiley, and my guests tonight, Crispin Mills. Melanie. And Eddie Izzard.
Hello.
Thank you very
No,
much.
I don't want to say hello. Okay. I don't want to. What's this? We said hello at the beginning.
Well, no, just
not
so the
hello.
people
I
think
take
you're still
back that
happy to
hello.
be here.
I withdraw my hello. Just general hi.
Now, next month sees the release of 2 greatest hits albums from a pair of the glitziest bands of the last decade, Culture Club and Duran Duran. They ruled the charts, they won trophies, and they adorned the walls during the early 80s. But then the hair flicks went flat and the lipstick dried up. Now they've returned with nationwide tours in the 80s.
telling you, please don't do the things you do. When you do those things, pull my puppet strings, have the strangest voice for you. Girls that cross the street, you never know who you might be, who's in disguise. Ooh, as you blow a storm, there's no one there to keep you warm. It's no surprise, there's something in my eyes. It's a miracle, 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 it's a miracle. And dreams are made of emotion.
Just to remind you exactly what it was like all that time ago. Were you a fan of either of those bands?
No, I wasn't a great fan, but I mean they've got their hair and makeup place, especially in rock history.
Well, do you think it was more a matter of style over content at that point?
Was it a makeup kind of thing for you?
Well,
Did it do anything for you?
Well, the makeup thing was interesting because George was right out there on his own, and I was kind of influenced by that. But in the whole new romantic period, everyone wearing makeup. I mean, previously with Bowie and Mark Bolan and whatever, I just couldn't go towards that because I wasn't an out transvestite at the time. And I should tell people now, that should be a flashing thing, he is a transvestite, even though he's wearing a beard thing come up. So I didn't actually pick up on that. I had the opportunity to, but I couldn't go because it was too close to home, and I wasn't out. I didn't come out until after that.
What, were you kind of paranoid, thinking if I could say that I like that, people guess, people know?
Absolutely, on the spot.
So should we ask Mel what she thinks of Culture Club?
Never liked Culture Club. Never liked Duran Duran, because I was a complete whammette.
Right.
So like they were.
Is this peer pressure? Like everybody
I think it was, you don't realise, because I must have been quite young at the time. I think I was in like junior school. So, and how much you're influenced by, even then, like by the media. And I didn't realise then, because it was either, why couldn't I just like both? Because like now, I listen to the old Duran Duran stuff and I think, great pop songs. But then it was like, no, can't listen to that.
Crispian, what do you think about comeback tours and the likes of Culture Club doing it all over again?
I hope they do well. I hope the Duran Duran sells lots more albums and everything, and I hope they all, make loads of money. And
No, but do you cringe when you watch bands like Culture Club doing it all over again?
Yes, I do.
You just think, God, you really shouldn't be here doing this.
Yeah, it's a weird thing though with Culture Club, isn't it? Because they're all like, going out with each other and having these relationships, and now, people have got married and they were gay, and now they're bi, and now the wife doesn't mind, they got kids, and there's a whole thing, and Boy George is totally like talking about it the whole time, and you always wonder like, I wonder if the rest of the band are, watching this going, shut up.
It is like a soap opera. I mean, that's probably one of the most intriguing things about it. Just kind of from a voyeuristic point of view.
Yeah, people love that soap opera.
They kind of indulged a lot in the rock and roll excesses, both Culture Club and Duran Duran, and then crashed and burnt as a result. Is that what happens when you get incredibly successful?
It's their job.
It's all there.
They're
pop
job.
stars, they should.
You've got to, and you've got to crash and burn. It's important to explode at some point.
With the Spice Girls, because there is such a pressure on you to be holier than thou and kind of not swear on stage particularly and to live this good life.
I'm just back off tour. You know what you were talking about, trying to find something to fulfil that gap. And that's what I think all four of us are coming to terms with now, and it is really, really difficult. And I'm not saying that I'm going to turn to drugs or anything, but just to get back to be living a semi-normal life, sleeping in your own bed, making your own breakfast.
How does it feel then, the first couple of days when you come off tour?
It's strange. I'm still going through it. It's like you're up and down all the time.
Do you get like a depression then?
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really difficult.
And how do you deal with it?
You just have to get on with it. Being busy is the best thing, and looking forward and moving on, because it's exciting to be getting new material together. So,
Crispin, you have been on tour and you have kind of been subjected to the rock and roll excesses. Haven't you?
Yes, I have. I just can't remember it. Yeah, I must have done.
Right. It was that good.
Yeah, it must be. I must have done something.
No, but can you relate to what Mel was saying about the just about that hollow feeling?
I think it depends on the person. There's loads of people who can deal with it, and loads of people who just escape in different ways. And the only real drag is just with coke, and people get into performing and they get in front of big crowds and then they start taking coke and then it all goes pear-shaped. and people really turn into arseholes.
And you've seen that happening
Yeah.
around you? It's not just in bands, I suppose, it's the whole industry that's around you.
Yeah, I don't know. Most bands I've met, they're not so rock and roll as the people in the music business.
Do you think so?
That's true, actually. And when you meet, like, you know, some like big old rockers and stuff like that, and they're all like reformed and everything, and then you've still got like old people around, you know, doing it all, but the bands are all like clean living vegetarians, you know, out jogging at 6 o'clock every morning. It's quite bizarre, actually, isn't it?
Fair enough, I shall probe no further. Now, they've called Uncle Science Fiction the Apocalypse Now of albums, a dark, melancholy epic featuring virtuoso performances from Richard Ashcroft, Beastie Boy, Mike D, and Badly Drawn Boy, amongst others. It took 3 years to make. The first single, Rabbit in Your Headlights, features Tom York on vocals. Was it worth the wait? Decide for yourself. And there it concludes. Mel, what do you make of that? What's your reaction to that video, first of all?
Initially, I think the video takes everything away from the song, because like when I watched it, I hadn't even listened to the song. You know what I mean? I think it's a great video. I found it quite disturbing.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrific. I don't know. It sounds
I think
weird,
it's completely shocking. It's just something that you watch over and over again. And you just don't want to see the impacts and stuff. Eddie, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I listened to it and I thought, oh, he's sounding very Tom Yorky. Yeah, you know. I was like, he's doing Tom York, man. It is Tom York, so that's why. Yeah, with this sort of Portishead thing and very, very beguiling.
The video, though?
Yeah.
You were analysing it as you were watching that.
Yeah, well, the video is fantastic. I was watching for when they swapped the guy getting hit with a bloke called Steve, who's used to that and can take it. And I can't see the joints. It just takes you in.
Crispy and bands are getting dragged along at the moment and feeling like we've got to do a dark and gloomy album.
Yeah, are we nihilistic enough to be hip? Type thing. Yeah, you can't ignore what's going on out there. It is very grim.
But do you react against that?
I do react against it, but I'm very confident that there's a very positive kind of energy and type of consciousness and awareness that's going to break through it and really change the world. I genuinely believe that.
Okay, so you're going to be the anti-gloom.
No, I think you have to recognise it, but it's one thing just to talk about it and just to, I think for me, I can't just do that. I have to try and express the other side, and because I feel it. I don't feel depressed the whole time. I genuinely don't.
Mel, do you think music's just become far too morose and kind of wallowing in misery for its own good?
There's room for everything, isn't there? I think, there's always been that side of things. But I mean, look at all the pop that's going on as well. It's just all so jolly. There's a lot of exciting things going on for kids, because obviously they're the people who are buying it, aren't they?
Do you feel like you're leaving the kids behind, or do you want to leave the kids behind and move on to a more mature audience? And that's something you'll be able to do now. Jerry's left.
You could change your video style. There's a good idea with that. You could have all the Spice Girls in the car going down the tunnel chasing Jerry.
I do feel like I do want an older audience. I do feel like I do find it quite frustrating, actually. That you've got this sellout gig and then you look. I mean, not to be ungrateful for all the support that we get. But, you know, you're giving it loads and you look out there and, like, some of the kids are asleep and you think...
You're not appreciating what we're doing.
It is quite frustrating.
Thank you very much for coming on the show anyway. Crispian, and Mel, and Eddie.
Good night.
We'll end, though, tonight with some music. LA hip-hoppers Jurassic 5, whose Scratchadelic Grooves won them the Best New Artist album at this month's Music Awards. It's time to sign off with the old school flavour of Concrete Schoolyard. Until next time, we'll see ya.
Yo, what you say, live all the way from LA.